One.
All right, welcome to the new JFK Show number 281. We have David Knight, which we had quite a few years ago, and that was actually one of our best shows. We got a lot of views on that. So welcome to the show. We got Larry Rivera, Jim Fetzer, and myself, Gary King, and we're loaded for bear as far as I can understand. Larry has a presentation for us, and David Knight does as well.
You are now host, Larry.
Thank you. Well, this is, I think, the most important day ever for research on the Altgens 6 photograph. Jim?
It's a big statement.
As I wrote in my book, in fact, I start the book, the first 2 pages are precisely, about the Altgens 6 and what we knew at the time. However, at that time and until now, we had never actually seen the negative of the Altgens 6. And we're going to show it tonight. And also some special overlays that I have prepared. And just to give our audience, a little feel about the Altgens 6 photograph, which came out the weekend of the assassination. All right, and was published in many newspapers the late afternoon of the assassination, especially on the East Coast, and in the early editions on the West Coast, as the time areas defined. So everybody that has always shown or opposed the concept of Lee Oswald in the doorway have always, referred to what happens in the Altgens 6 as supposedly having gone out at 1 o'clock or 1:05 the afternoon of the assassination, Friday the 22nd of November 1963. And the Dallas, Morning News was very much involved in this. But right now, what I would like to welcome David to this group here, this conversation that we're going to have, and to tell us a little bit about that negative that surfaced this past November at the conference in Dallas. Okay, and then from there, I'll start a presentation, and we can take it further from there.
All right, thank you, Larry. I appreciate the introduction. And again, I'm David Knight with Project JFK CSI Dallas, and I want to come on the show here with Larry and Jim and Gary, and explain how we came into a possession of a scan of the Altgens 6 photograph of the negative. We had a conference down in Dallas. It was the JFK Historical Group in association with Project JFK and JFK Conferences LLC. And around dinner time, Gary Fannin, a fellow researcher, had came in, and he was extremely excited about something that he had with him. He pulls out an envelope with 2 little pieces of cardboard sandwiched together. The negative is inside, and when he first shows it, of course, it's a negative. It's pretty small. He's probably about 6 feet away from me, and I don't really see exactly what it is, but once he brings it closer and I put it up to the light, I knew exactly what he had. It was the Altgens 6 negative. He had made a trade with a fellow researcher that owned the negative, and he was bringing it down to show me, and I had my equipment there. I was doing the audiovisual for the conference, and I said, hey, this is a perfect opportunity. You're here, the negative's here, and my equipment's here. And he goes, well, what would you like to do? I said, I want to scan it in. And he thought maybe just taking a photograph, or just a flatbed scanner copy of it, which we're going to show tonight. I took it as just the negative, so you can see the sprocket holes and the numbers that are on the side of the negative. And then my Epson scanner that I have actually scans negatives, and it will autocorrect, and it has ICE technology built in. So it really makes the negative in superb quality. I mean, you can go into, I believe it's as high as 4,200 DPI.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about resolution there?
Yeah, 4200 DPI, and we can run up to 32-bit of color, but this is a black and white photograph, so it runs in a 16-bit of color. But once I had scanned it quite a few times, we have the best version of that negative that Larry's going to show tonight.
Oh,
But
it's impressive. It's impressive. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a piece of history that we now, have where we can show. And I want to give out the credit to Gary Fannin for bringing this, into the conference and into me directly, so that way we could have this to show. And Gary, like I say, Gary's a great guy. He's always got something that you least expect, and he's always got a lot of stuff in his archives. I've seen quite a few artifacts over the years that just really makes you go, this guy, he keeps track of what he has and what
he's published a book. He's published a book.
Yeah, and he's got a book and a video, and I think he's working on another book, or already has the book out. I'm kind of foggy on that, but if you haven't checked out Gary Fannin's book or his video, I will see if I can pull it up here, so that way we just give the guy credit for doing work that a lot of researchers work on, but sometimes they never get that book or that video out. So
we are so indebted to Gary that we're able to present something that in my mind has never been presented or streamed or anything even close to and the analysis that I'm gonna show you guys is unprecedented, because what we're doing here is we are marrying the overlay technology that we have already done on the man in the doorway and the backyard man and everything that is described in my book, The JFK Horseman, and transferring that over to this that we're going to show you tonight, which is, I'm so excited about this, so why don't I just take a hold of this. Jim, you got anything to say, or Gary,
I'm blown away. I mean, you're going to have a scan that's even better than the original. It's amazing. I'm ecstatic. Everyone needs to understand this is the single most important photograph related to the assassination of JFK in history. This is it.
This is the Holy Grail, isn't it?
And what we're going to show, this is not a cropped version like what we've seen so many times in reproduction. This, you can actually see the hand sticking out of, I believe it's Charles Brim, there on the right side. Exactly. And the curvature of Elm Street. So this is the uncropped version that you are going to see tonight.
Yeah. So are we here on the? Are we good here in film photography?
There you go. There you go. You're good.
Okay, Jim, go ahead and do the introduction.
In film photography, contact sheets allow a photographer to view all the frames from a roll of film in print. Contact sheets get their name from the way they're made, by placing negative strips directly onto a piece of photographic paper and making a print. $64,000 question. Was a negative that you will shortly see the same one that was used to make this contact print?
Now, this is from my book, okay? And before we look at the contact prints and the other images here, and this is so important because it has to do with the timing, the time frame, timeline that is required to get that, from camera, okay, to getting it out of the camera, fixing it, washing solution, then producing the negative, another 10 minutes, in order for you to begin to do contact prints. So here in this timeline, we're already talking about at least half an hour, okay? And this is from the book. I just thought it was interesting to bring it in here. And these are the actual contact prints of Altgens, Ike Altgens camera. I mean, paltry 7. If this was a 12, even, a roll of only 12 images, we're still missing 5. Am I correct?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. So,
and 7 is suspect as a fraud, by the way.
Well, just look at the upper corner there, Jim. It's been completely chopped off here.
Right.
And as in the book, the close-up of the front pilot car, where Jesse Curry and Decker and the others were riding, where you can see Decker turning around and looking at the assassination. All right.
Right.
And right here at the middle, right here up here is, which is known as Altgens 6. But it went from 2, 3. Okay. Wait, let me get back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you get 8, and this is 7.
Do we know why one is missing, Gary? Larry?
That's, like I said, and that's one of the anomalies that, authors and people who have researched this have always questioned, how come there's one missing? But I'm saying, okay, there's 5 missing.
But this, of course, is not the original because it doesn't have the sprocket holes and all that. You're asking us, is this contact you're showing there the same or derivative from the negative we're about to see?
And here it is. Okay, this is what survives in the public domain.
I got better prints in the presentations I give than this one, Larry.
Well, this is the contact print. Okay, this is this is not the actual image. This is the contact print, and what they do is, once the negative is out and they process the negative, they put it on photographic paper, with a glossy side up, and then they shoot light through it so that they can create strips of what's in the film, in the roll, without having to process all of them, as they normally do. And this is a way, and this is, contact prints are done all the time. And the thing about this is that it would have taken time. And what we need to do here is compare this with the negative that you're going to see here in a second. Yeah. And this is what, and here it is. This is the negative that David scanned in Dallas.
Now we could turn around and make a print out of this, couldn't we, David?
Well, yeah, you're going to see it in a second.
Okay.
David, are you muted? I can. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. This is the negative. This is what Gary Fannin had given to me to scan, and we're gonna show here in a minute that the scan has been made into this would be a negative, but we're gonna make this into a positive print.
Right. And we're going to look at how this whole process unfolded, okay? And because the reason I need to bring this up first is this is a contact print that supposedly was original out of the camera. They put it on, they made the contact print there at the Dallas Morning News, and this is what supposedly went out on the wire. Okay.
I got real suspicions about this, Larry, right off the bat. It just doesn't look right to me.
Well, you're going to see in a second how all this, combines. Now, this is a 50% overlay that I did from the negative, okay, that David has provided with the contact print, okay, of the Altgens 6. If you look how everything lines up here, the arrow 6 at the top, Tri-X pan film. Okay, this is 50-50, and this lines up perfectly. It doesn't get any better than this. And this is the animation of the overlay. All right. Now it gets better. I'm sorry.
So are you telling me then that was a contact made from this negative?
Exactly.
All right.
And I am confirming that 100% right here at this moment. Okay.
But between the quality that Larry's showing on the contact compared to what we have is like night and day.
Right. And they did it on purpose. Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah. To obfuscate details.
Oh, you see the anomalies, they're not, but the condition of the negative that we got our hands on in Dallas, we're talking about how many decades, almost 6 decades. So the condition of the negative, and you're going to see now, is, I would say, C or C minus, David?
I would say probably a C, a solid C on the quality of the negative now, 60 years from when it was taken.
Okay. So what the purpose of what I'm doing here is to authenticate the negative, okay, in relation to the contact print that has been out there. And the reason that we're doing all this exercise is because the anomalies that we see in the Altgens 6 photograph come directly from this, you know.
Yeah,
Once
and you can match up the dog ear in the bottom left corner.
everything.
Perfect.
Exactly. No, and the only thing that happened here, everybody, see at the bottom here, the negative that we got our hands off, actually a little chunk here has been broken off. Correct? Here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but when you look at and the points of that I have used, okay, on the overlay, okay, as you can see down here, the arrow on the 6, and up here, tri-X pan film. When those were overlaid and confirmed and matched, then the whole thing just fell into place without me having to do anything else.
Wonderful.
All right. So this is the negative. Okay. This is the holy grail of this whole thing. Okay, you got that? And when I do an invert, okay, from this is David's Gary Fannon's negative, and I'm inverting it here. Okay, so, and as you can see, the width of the photograph, especially with Charles Brem's hands extended here, and over here on the left, okay, the anomalies that we're going to see now, which are so very important and confirming, you know, that it was altered. Okay, and this is for the first time, David presenting the scan that you did from that negative. All right. Now, the first thing that came to mind were these scratches. You want to tell us anything about that, Dave?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do photographic restorations. I also do handling of photographs and documents. And this photograph is, or this negative, this is the positive from the negative.
Exactly.
But this negative wasn't really, I mean, it was kept in plastic, but was it handled correctly with, you know, archival gloves over the years?
That's right.
Obviously not, because we see the imperfections in the negative that, you know, the emulsion has been either scratched or chipped away, where we kind of see, I know Larry's got the deal, but if you look in front of the motorcycles and you see all those specks on the street there, and also in front of the presidential limousine, those are basically pieces of the emulsion that has been chipped away over the years, just because it wasn't properly stored. Now today, obviously, we don't have a lot of cameras that do negatives. We do DSLR cameras or cell phones. So you can look at a photograph that was taken with a newer camera today in 60 years, and it's going to look in better condition, because you're not dealing with, you know, an actual piece of you know, a piece of negative like what we have in the Altgens 6 photograph.
Now, I wanted to bring your attention here to this here, and this happened when you were scanning, and for some reason it's in the negative right here. It's like a hair, something.
Yeah.
When you did such a, you noticed that, right?
Yeah.
You did?
And I do want to point out that this was, I basically just air dusted, not with chemical, but just, you know, a camel hair brush, just to get make it the best scan that I possibly could. This was not washed or anything. This was not
right. Oh yeah, it was,
you know,
completely impromptu. I mean, what happened there, you know, absolutely. And now listen, but we're going to get deeper into that. Okay, here's a version of the Altgens 6, presumably also from that. But if you look here in the area, oops,
the hair's not there.
No, because this is a different one.
Yeah.
Charles Brem's hands here, where there is an anomaly here, okay, and another one here in this area of Altgens' motorcycle. Now I'm going to go back. This is our new scan here, and look at here.
How much you can see of the body and the hands, yeah.
Right. So, and but that's not really, you know, important in what we're going to talk about here in a second. But the important thing is here, this area, and we have been talking about this for a long time, you know, probably years, you know, 5, 6, 7, or 8 years. The women from the Dallas Morning News who had cameras, who were recording, taking pictures, all right, and this is the area in question. You know, either Maggie Brown or Ann Donaldson, one of the two, were handling the camera. And there was another woman here at the left. Okay. And we're going to get into that in a second. Now this is, let me see. Okay. This is another version of it. Okay, here's ours. This is another version of it. Obviously, before the negative got all scratched and manhandled, you know, so this probably dates back for a while. And this is one that I was telling you that has the anomaly here and here. Now, let me go on here. This is Dennis Camino's scan. When Dennis passed this one around, we couldn't believe, you know, how detailed it was. And this was, wow, maybe 2013 or something like that, 2012, you know, and it, you know, it had so much definition, you know, and so I'm just sort of like giving you a history, but again, it's cropped here. You can't see both hands of Brem, and to the left, also, you cannot see all the what's going on there with the women from the Dallas Morning News. Now, Saturday Evening Post, 14 December 1963. As you can see, the width of the photograph is correct. All right, but at the top, it's been chopped off. I don't know if it was, you know, because of limited space in the magazine. I mean, that was a centerfold, I believe, you know, for that one. And here. And
I believe I have the magazine.
I do, yeah. And this was scanned because, you know, as you can see, I had to put it together, you know, because it cut right through the middle. But the most important thing here is the left here, because this is what we're going to focus on here real quick. As you can see, this area has been airbrushed. So has this one here, and exactly the way I presented in the book. Okay, these are the outlines of that area. Now you see this guy over here. This is a fist. He's pumping, you know, and this is the background here. This guy, you know, with his hat and everything. But this woman here has a camera in hand, and it's been blotted out. And for the same reason for this one over here. And over the years, you know, I've been thinking about this, and I'm going, why would they do this? You know, because there were other areas of the Altgens 6 where you see that just somebody, you know, just got erased. It's obviously because they had a camera. All right. And I'll show you a couple of at least another example. Anybody want to comment here on anything so far?
Well, I do think it's significant that they blacked out cameras, because then people would have wanted to see those photographs, and those photographs would have been telling. I mean, Jack's already been shot in the back and shot in the throat because we got the hole in the windshield. So I think it might have been very revealing about the throat shot, my best guess.
And that's exactly what one would surmise, you know, especially when you look at these women and in the Z film. Okay, those areas that I'm just showing you here that are blacked out here and here, you know, are these women here. And you can see her. She's got something, you know, to her face. This one you cannot see, but, you know, why would they erase all of her, you know, and she's here. So obviously she's got something, you know, and she is recording. Okay. And when you compare both of them, okay, so let me get this back up here. When you compare both of them, you know, one, you know, in the same frame as the other, you can see here what's going on. Now, oops, I wanted to show here. Z161, North Curb close-up. There she is again. Now, 161, as opposed to 255, what she's going to do is she's going to pan left until she's got LBJ straight in her sights on Z255, which is the Altgens 6 photograph. Now, 166.
Now, Larry, haven't we presumed the
Right
row
here.
of
This is the area.
spectators
This
was
is
from
right here.
the row of spectators was from an earlier when the pilot car went by, because they're not waving and cheering at Jack and Jackie as everyone else is elsewhere.
That's right. And this is beyond that. This is beyond that. This is already when, you know, we're already into the final sequence there. And the point here is that this woman here, I'm circling right here, she's got a camera. And this is the one that has been
well, if it was Lyndon, then it would show that he was ducking down. Which
right,
yeah,
don't. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get to that. Okay, so again, she's here with the camera. Okay, and this is the left panel of that Saturday Evening Post. Again, here, and here. All right, and this is her line of sight that you were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
That red arrow is the line of sight. So she would have had Lyndon Johnson ducking in her sights at the moment of the Altgens 6 photograph. Okay, now I want to move on to this guy.
Let me just make the point that the bullet hole, the black hole at the center, has been lightened. It's been essentially whitened.
Oh, well, we're going to examine that in detail in a minute. Okay, because I'm gonna go after this short presentation. I'm gonna go straight to the scan. The scan. Okay.
Could we pause for a moment? I've got to get a jacket. My basement is very cold. Can we just pause a moment?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll pause it.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that this was one of the most photographed murders in fact, the most photographed murder in history. So I think they had a lot of cameras to obfuscate in this. And a lot of other things too, is what I wanted to say.
Well, that's why they had FBI agents at all the photo processing labs in Dallas for 2 weeks, and they took any photographs related to Dealey Plaza and left a little card, which you can see in Richard Trask's pictures of the pain.
And they were saying
he's handing over the evidence freely too.
Yeah, and well, I want to throw out something here real quick too. 1963 was different than what we have today. If you were, a God-fearing American back in the 60s,
right.
and they asked you to, we need your film or your photographs so that way we can get to the bottom of what happened to the president. They gave the stuff over willingly without any regards to questions of they were going to get it back. If you did that today, you need a subpoena to come take my photographs. That's the difference between the innocence we had in 1963 to what we have today in 2023.
Yeah, Orville Nix, the same thing.
Absolutely. He's probably at the top of the list, Gary.
Yeah. He said there's a film or two missing when they brought it back. There's a slide.
Are you kidding me? The camera was destroyed.
Yeah.
But Larry, I'm looking at this, and that face as though it was in the back. Oh, that's going to be Connolly.
No. That's our friend Emery.
What the hell face is that? That's so peculiar.
That's Emery Roberts. Emery Roberts.
From the Queen Mary, we can see him.
The one behind him by the
Altgens 6 photograph. Okay, the same Emery Roberts who removed Henry Dykstra from,
he was the black bastard who was the emergency on-site
controller. Not only that, Vince Palmyra has confirmed that at Parkland, he said, to hell with JFK, I'm going with LBJ because I'm now part of his clan. And from there, he raised, and he was promoted to LBJ's. David, what do you know about this?
Well, what obviously I've learned in the history books, such as what other researchers have written. I think you've summed it up perfect. Go ahead, Larry.
No. This is the guy that takes over at Parkland. And you get this in the Altgens 6 photo.
Yeah, Larry, can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
Behind the mirror, there's a big head. It just looks almost like unnatural.
Oh yeah, that's
what we're talking about.
No, that's Dave Powers. No, we're talking about this guy right here.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just wondering.
That's Kellerman.
No, that's Dave. No, this is the Queen Mary. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Right. That's what
Dave Powers.
Right. Very good.
We're explaining that he's the one. He's the one that removed, the Secret Service agent at Love Field. Okay, Dykstra, and then and you see the video of him, raising his arm, saying, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
Okay.
There were
He's the
two
one.
of them,
And-
actually, two of them. You see Dykstra in the one, but the other guy was there too and upset equally.
And at Parkland, he completely abandoned the JFK detail, and went straight with Johnson, with LBJ. And from there, he was promoted to his, head of the detail of Johnson there, in the Secret Service. Now, I want to draw to your attention to this here. This is on Main Street. And you have exactly the same shadows, okay, because it is exactly the same angle in that you see in the Altgens 6 in Dealey Plaza, okay. You see the shadows and everything, and look at the windshield and the area here of Kellerman and Greer. William Greer, the big trader, and Kellerman. You can see very clearly their faces.
Right, but we can't in the Altgens, so why the hell not?
You tell me. Okay, and behind is right here, the Queen Mary, and this guy is Emory Roberts. And I'm going to close, give you a little close up there. Here he is. And then you have this, what you just, observed.
Got a microphone
Altgens.
down his throat.
And I mean, what else would that be? Okay.
He had a mic up to his face, I think, in Altgens.
Well, that's the point of all this whole thing. And here is an overlay that shows you exactly this whole thing here. There you go, Emory Roberts. Okay, so let's move on to the Altgens 5. Okay, and I want to draw your attention to the upper left corner here. This gentleman, okay,
Sitting on the stairs.
forget about what's going on over here. And
Right.
there he is. And he's got the best seat in the house, Jim, Gary, and Dave. I don't know what or where you could better see the assassination of a president than from here. Anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, it's
that's good. That's
amazing
good. Of course,
he was even
it's
allowed up
happened
there.
above the window to the broom closet to the uranium mining company.
It's a great aerial view spot where he's, if he had to, figure out, I'm going to pick out a spot to watch the parade coming down the motorcade, he picked a perfect spot for it.
And you know something? And this guy, his attire and everything says to me that this guy was probably a janitor in
Yes.
the Daltex
Yeah.
building. And
I
here
agree.
he-
I agree, and that's how he knew he could get out there.
Exactly. And obviously he's a African American. Okay. But I want you to look at here. I'm circling here my mouse here. Okay. And you can see somebody peering out of the window
Right. That's
right here. Do you guys agree here?
It might be Nestor Escadra, or it might be George H.W. Bush.
One of those guys. Well, okay. So this is what now, but that's not the reason that I'm presenting it here. And the reason I'm going to present it here is so that you can see the obfuscation in the Altgens 6 photograph in this area of the fire escape. Okay. And this is what I'm talking about right here. You guys see this? Thanks to our good friend Dennis Camino, first noticed it. Down here is what Richard Hook,
Yeah.
right. He
Brilliant stuff.
right.
Yeah.
And this is where he places
Escadra and Bush.
the Bush people. Yeah, right. Thank you. Okay. But besides that, this is what's going on up here. And at this moment, like Dennis said, there seems to, and Weisberg even wrote about this. It seems like this guy has been like shocked or disturbed in some kind of manner here, where he's reacting to maybe gunshot.
Holding on, sitting down.
Yeah. Okay. So, but the point of all this is right here. Okay. That does not exist, gentlemen, except here. All right. And when you raise the brightness a little bit, you can see even more, that is artificial. Now, this is a Cutler map, okay, that we have used, for, our blender, and everything, And what the reason I'm bringing it up here is because Altgens, when he started taking his pictures, okay, Altgens 2, 3, and 4 are taken from here, this corner, all right? He's got one here, he's got one here, okay, and then he walks all the way across to this position, okay? Meanwhile, the motorcade is going around slowly but surely, and Altgens, when he takes his photograph, he's right in the middle of the street, all right? And we have confirmed that, you know, by 3D models and by just going there. I went there and took a picture right there in the lane and from my phone, and it lined up perfectly with what you see here.
Yeah, there's no way he could have took this photograph if he was standing on the curb in the grass. He had to be actually standing in the street.
In the street,
with the vehicles coming at him.
Standing in the street.
That's right.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's right. Yeah. So this, what you're seeing here, is the very first time that anybody has published or shown this in any type of venue or program or streaming or whatever that you're going to see later on YouTube. And this is what we're talking about here. And I'm not even going to go into the windshield and the doorway, because that's a we can talk 3 hours. We can talk 3 hours about that. I'm just going with, you know, the most obvious ones. Okay. Now, the vice presidential Secret Service followed car. Okay. If you look here in the Altgens 6, right here in this area, that door is open. This guy, if you look, and I'm going to show you, you know, the close-up, because David's scans are just really impressive when you go deep into that area, you know, where he's got, it appears like he's got a gun and he's stepping out of the car, and these guys are LBJ's follow-up car. All right. So, and one of them opened the door, the other one, number 5, which was John's, he stayed in Dealey Plaza. This guy got out and then went back in. Okay. Here is another version. Okay. And again, here, you see this here, right here, you see this anomaly here that you don't see in our brand new negative. Okay. And how about this? The photo that we showed of the limo on Main Street that shows Kellerman and Greer in full view in sunshine with the same angle of the sun, yet in Altgens 6, all right,
Dark down.
he's in complete darkness here, and so is Greer. And I'm going to show you how the reason for this obfuscation is because Greer is turned around completely looking at the president. Okay, and I want to credit Roy Schaefer for pointing this one out to me, because the envelope, they have these Secret Service envelopes that they, for identification, that they would have here on their lapel here. And that's exactly what you see here. And I'm going to, when we examine the scan, the high definition scan, I'm gonna point that out to you guys.
Roy is an unsung hero of JFK research.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He went there, and it's the same kind of camera. The first guy that went down in there and took video of cars coming down. They're going with the same bell and Howell, you know. And I still say that anybody who really wants to study the Z film, look at his blink rate study. It doesn't go any further than that, you know. All right,
we have a show about that.
So that's it there, and I want to go here. Hold on. All right, this is what we want. Screen share. Oh, baby. All right. You guys see this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, you have never. And David,
Man.
this is impressive. David,
blow me away.
how did you get this type of definition here? How did you get this? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I tell you what, the number one thing of how you get good definition on something this old is have the proper equipment. Sometimes the proper equipment costs hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. I only, not sound like Hallmark, I only invest in the best. But when I was scanning this, I scanned at a low resolution just to see, you know, would that be enough? And then when I bumped this up into the highest resolution that I could scan in without altering, there's no alterations to this. I can go in and I can color correct, or I can correct the scratches. I can correct that hair looking piece on Hill.
Wow, you can see
Look at the
expression.
reaction.
Wow.
Hey, look at the reaction of these kids here, man. Look at this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kid's disturbed, but the other the
How
little
about that?
boy
What do you
is
think
right.
this? What do you think this kid has witnessed here, Jim?
You can see
Something
it.
going wrong, probably a bullet passing over his head.
How about this guy, who Beverly Brunson,
Like,
brought,
holy smoke.
He's heard more than one shot passing over.
I mean, in my opinion, on doing photographic work, this is the best scan that, with the definition that we have, this is the best scan, even with the scratches, even with the emulsion scratches, and chipped off. This is the best scan that we've got of this.
Absolutely. How about this guy, Jim and Gary? You know who this
Yeah.
guy is?
He looks
Very curious. That's a very curious, rather haunting image.
This is Arce. This is Arce. Daniel Arce. Remember with the walkie-talkie in his face.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Richard Hook did a lot of research on this guy. And then, where is LBJ? Where was George? How about this? Do you want to see this here? This right here is somebody that was removed who had a camera on their face.
And he was removed and not even in the negative.
Well,
So
that's what we're gonna go into next.
So this
how they would
negative
go about.
this negative, while it may be the best scan we have, cannot be the original negative.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly. So I'm not even gonna go in here because you guys know.
Oh boy.
But what I do want to point out is look at how Landis' forehead has been lopped off here from the, and obviously the other thing, and this is my pet project, where Wesley Frazier was removed. All right.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you. And obviously what we just did. Okay. Look at how the windshield goes in a straight line here, and then all of a sudden, whoop, boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Now, what else?
Zoom in on
okay,
that.
Dennis Camino. Okay, here. Dennis, notice this.
No.
Okay. Here, you see he's got the door open, but the faces of these guys appear to have
Been obfuscated.
Yeah.
obfuscated. Why? All right. Now, what else?
Well,
You
go
go all the way
over
to the
and
left.
to the
Well,
left
I'll
and
read
zoom in
it.
on the women. Yeah.
What? You want me to
Go
zoom
all the
in
way to the left.
here?
Like
No,
around
all-
Maggie Brown.
Oh
Around
yeah,
Maggie
yeah,
Brown.
of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Holding up the camera.
Yeah.
Okay. There it is.
You can see their teeth.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, again, this is the first time ever that this type of analysis has been conducted on the Altgens 6 photograph. And, just a short, opinion here of, what do you guys think about this?
Well, it's obvious that a lot of people are not aware of what's happened yet, and there's a lot of people that have.
Now, David, I need you to tell me about this.
Well, what I see in this is, well, like what Jim and Gary were saying. I mean, the motorcycle officers, and I mean, Clint Hill had to see that JFK had already been hit. And I know I use this in my presentation, not this particular scan because I didn't have it at the time, but with the pandemonium that's actually going on, you've got so many bystanders. If you go through and you look at all of these faces, a percentage of them knows that something has happened. They've heard the shot by now. Obviously, JFK's been hit. This would be the missed shot, the neck shot, or the throat shot. So you've got the sound of firecrackers is what's been stated. That's what people are starting to notice. I mean, you got Secret Service
to your point, exactly. That's what they're reacting to at the top of Elm Street. You know, that people don't really realize, you know, how important that was in the execution. Of course.
And we know when a bullet passes through the windshield, it creates the sound of a firecracker.
No, and just like to quote JFK, you know, when Pesci Ferry, he's saying, you know, you get the distraction over here and you get the kill shot over here.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there
are firecrackers going on off elsewhere in the plaza.
Yeah.
Well,
there's all kind of diversionary things.
Oh, there's at least 6 witnesses that talked to, even Secret Service guys, you know.
How many did they hear?
Well, it started. That's the thing, when they start the commotion there at the beginning, and you got this crowd. You know, everybody hears a different thing. You know, so
what's crucial about what we've established so far is that this, which purports to be the negative, is in fact a negative that was made after the revised version of the original, which they had then printed and then created a new negative.
Now, how would they go about doing that? My thesis on this, and I have expressed it in the book, is Jaggers Child Stovall, okay, where, you know, we know the connections. We know that, and Gary Shaw talked about this last time when we were with him, you know, about the Reverend Jack Shaw, who was with Roscoe White when he was on his deathbed, you know, and one of his confessions was, and he told him that the hub, you know, the brain trust there of the assassination was there at Jaggers Child Stovall, which was within blocks of Dealey Plaza. You know, and you can see there on page 492 of Harry Livingston's book, you know, High Treason.
And is he more specific about who specifically was located there at the time?
No, just that, you know, anything, you know, regarding photography and alterations would have been done there.
Right.
And that's what, you know, we surmise that happened with the negative, you know, went straight over there and they worked on it, sent it back to the Dallas Morning News in time to send it out mid-late afternoon, maybe at 4 o'clock or something like that. And then after that, Cronkite doesn't even show it until 6:30. You know that.
And remember, Ralph did find where they created fake editions of newspapers that included the Altgens, so they could claim that it had appeared right away and therefore couldn't have been altered, when in fact they were fake editions they'd made up afterwards.
Okay. And we found that. What was that in Michigan? Some kind of with the Palladium. I West Michigan. Okay, so this is so important, you know, that we were, you know, when I got my hands on that negative, you know, I just, you know, couldn't believe because it was history.
Yeah.
Here's that anomaly there.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a wallet chain.
It actually looks like a pubic hair.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but you know, it's extraordinary that it got done, because if you were to see the circumstances, you know, we're like at the end of everything, you know, like having, how long had you already been working? Like 10, 12 hours, David, when that?
Yeah, when I originally saw it, I was probably 9 hours in for the day. And then when I finally got a chance to scan it, I was probably a good 14 hours in working. So I mean, I didn't want to hold Gary up from being able to go and have some libations at the bar in the hotel, but I tell you what, once I saw it, and then I let you know that I was going to get you a copy of it. When we started picking this apart, and what they say in JFK, picking that shit out of pepper. That's what we were doing with this. And trying to see things that, you know, it's one thing if you take a photograph and do a scan, you're scanning that photograph. Your resolution is going to be considerably less than going back to the negative and making a scan directly off the negative. It's better quality, better resolution, and more DPI.
That's right. And that's why it's so important that we're able to present this here, so that researchers or anybody who's interested, you know, in truth about the Altgens 6 photograph. And so it leads us to at least to open up the hypothesis that this was taken to Jaggers Child Stovall. It was enlarged, okay. it was worked on, or even an optical printer, okay, which would have been also helpful, in the processing of this. But
Well, Eric, I don't think there's anything really conjectural. I mean, it had to have been done that way. It was the fastest, most effective way to do it. And they couldn't fart around. They had to get this out done right away.
Can you imagine I mean, anyway, I wanted to, if I can, am I still sharing? I am, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, okay. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. Okay, because it's been hotly debated recently, right? And I thought I'd, there you go.
You know, that Groden and Thompson want to insist that both the Z film and the Altgens are authentic.
Authentic, yeah, no,
That's
that's boring.
astounding to me.
That's boring. Okay. So meanwhile, we're the ones doing the significant stuff. Okay, I want to show you guys David's position here. Got the camera.
You're still on the Altgens scan, Larry. You haven't shared anything else.
Thank you. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's check out Weldon. This is Weldon, okay? Weldon's position. All right. Let me go ahead and render this quickly. Oops. All right. Just get this. Meanwhile, I want to talk about the weapon that we have talked about before in that show a couple of years ago. What was it, like 2 years ago, at least 2 or 3 years ago, on your presentation at Only, on the weapon that we've almost, we got here a little bit of a problem. Okay.
Yeah, I think that show that was on this show here was I believe it was 237. So we're at 280 something else. So there's been 50 some shows since then.
Right. So I think we gotta open this with our other. Sorry, real quick. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna stop the share. Yeah. So what we're getting at here is that some people disbelieve, okay, and I'll just take it over here to the website. Sorry about that. Okay, this is what I wanted to get to. Okay, now I can share it now. Right. Okay, you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now, this is when Dave, did the presentation on the AR-5, okay, and all the specifications that brought this weapon to the top of those which would have been the ones that could have created the hole in the windshield, and from there, the front shot in JFK. All right, so some people think that this weapon would not have been able to reach or to have enough power to do that. What do you say about that?
Well, I know I've heard several researchers and just general, public, say a 22 is not going to be able to reach the windshield, cause that type of damage,
Right.
And go through windshield and not ricochet off and, end up in the throat of JFK. And in a presentation that I gave on this, I basically did like a 3.0 version. This would have been in Olney, Illinois. I had done another presentation of it, and I had showed video of a 22 going through a windshield, going through the headrest and causing a perfect hole, just like what took place in what was probably being shot through the windshield of the presidential limousine. So
a mere 22, a mere 22.
Yeah, and what they were showing was just strictly a standard 22 long rifle, which is what's on the left here that Larry's showing. But you've got the round that goes in the AR-5, which is a lot more powerful bullet, ballistic tip. It's going to be able to do it even better than what a 22 long rifle. But both of them can do it.
And this whole thing comes from the evidence that the windshield, the hole in the windshield, was only a certain diameter. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it was big enough just to put a number 2 pencil through, and that was it.
Right. So any bore, even 6.5 or anything over that, would not have been a candidate. Correct.
That is correct.
Right.
And are you suggesting the actual bullet that hit him in the neck was exploding tip?
No, not necessarily.
But not necessarily. But I will say that if you look in this photograph, do you see that little plastic ballistic tip on the top of the bullet on the right?
Right.
Yeah.
That can be removed, and I showed this to Larry in person. Matter of fact, I think I gave him one with the plastic removed.
That's the one.
Well, this one here has the plastic in the tip, but if you pull that little plug out, it's probably I have my caliper here. I don't have the measurement exactly in front of me, but you could actually mercury tip that bullet if you wanted to make it exploding rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me ask you this, David. There's been a considerable debate. Bob Livingston, world authority on the human brain, told me he believed that shot had fragmented, part had gone down in the right lung, part upward to rupture this very tough membrane over the cerebellum. Now, there was cerebellar tissue observed by all the physicians at Parkland. I mean, 10 of them give this report. He said that would not have been possible as an effect of even multiple near simultaneous shots to the head unless the tentorium had already been ruptured. In your opinion, is it possible that he could be right?
Do I think it's right? Let me make sure I have this question correct. Do I think that it's right that it was an exploding bullet, or that this round could have done that?
Do you think it's right that the bullet that hit Jack in the neck could have fragmented, part gone upward and part gone downward?
Yes, I do, and I'll tell you the reason why for that. The 22, whether the AR-7 fires a 22 long rifle, and the AR-5 fires the cartridge that you see here on the right, the 22 Hornet. Both of those cartridges can and usually do fragment. When if you want to talk about the most deadly round that you could get shot with that causes the most damage is a 22, whether it's a 22 LR or a 22 Magnum.
Can't find it.
Hornet.
Yeah, you can't find
it. And what tells me when I look at the autopsy photographs and I see the gaping neck wound, the reason why I feel that that's like that, we went from a perfect hole with a cut through it just to put a trach tube in. But when we see the autopsy photo and the neck has been just
but that's
out.
But David, that was done by Humes. He called Bob Livingston, who's the world authority I'm citing here, and asked him what would it look like if it had been a wound of accident. And he altered the wound on this body, which isn't even that of JFK. It appears to be the major, to make that big gaping wound. That was not what was observed at Parkland.
Right. I agree with that. What I'm saying, the reason, one theory, this is the theory that I have, one theory that I have of why the hole or the wound had became larger, like you were just stating, the bullet ricocheting, breaking apart and going down into the lung. They've got the body on Air Force One. They've got to make sure before the autopsy they get any pieces of metal that is not accounted for. And if you come across a fragment that's from a 22 long rifle or a 22 Hornet, it's like going on a fishing expedition down into the body to pull out pieces.
David, there was another stage in this. They offloaded the body at Andrews in a body bag on the opposite side, put him in a chopper, took it to Walter Reed, where the best forensic pathologists removed those various bullet fragments.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
And also there is a theory of the involvement of John Liggett in this whole thing, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah.
With the
So-
regard to the ear, yeah.
Yeah.
But see, that was from the other shot. David now thinks there were 3 shots to the head, and that the one that entered the temple and blew out the harbor fragment in his brain was not the shot that created the distribution of metallic particles, which was a frangible bullet fired from, I believe, the pergola. That would have been the Israeli shooter who's, you know, I think this is David's present position. There were 3 shots to the head.
Yeah, I believe that you've definitely got a shot from the front into the throat. I think you've got a shot going into the and I know my camera's messed up, but the temple
Right.
that blew out the back of the skull, and then
And the harbor fragment.
and the Harper fragment. So you could have 3 shots to the head. And
Yeah, David's got a third, and that causes the distribution of metallic fragments you see in the X-ray and the blowout of the skull flap by the ear, which is where Liggett may have come in to reconstruct.
Don't forget that
reconstruct the ear.
Dr. Mantic has also found evidence of the X-rays being
Altered.
forged, you know. With
Of course.
metallic-
I made that point in this argument. It would have been easy to sub an old real JFK X-ray for the one that would have shown this damage from the bullet fragmenting. And
Yeah.
Alan Solarian, for God's sake, it was the head of the FBI's rapid response team. He was a top shrink in the FBI. Resist the simple suggestion they could have substituted the X-rays. He says there's no evidence of any damage to the spine.
Are
or
you
the
kidding me? One of the
I'm serious. I'm serious. This is so embarrassing to me because I'm a huge fan of Alan Solarian. I'm looking at a huge painting of Elm Street he did right here in my library.
oh, wow. Is this the guy that's been hanging out with
Big
Ralph?
game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enough said. Okay. So to synthesize everything here, the most important thing, obviously, the Altgens 6 photograph. And Gary, you have any thoughts here? You've been so quiet there.
It's a new ball game on the Altgens 6, and
I think it is. I think it is.
incredible how much detail. I mean, you could see the people smile, who was horrified. LBJ completely not there. There's so much to be, not just a lot of stuff we knew already, but it's really crystal clear now.
Well, I think the whole point of this is that we had never seen this, and why has this been suppressed for so long is my question.
Well, I think the perfect answer to that is the more suppression of evidence, the truth is not going to come out. But you have truth seekers like us and like what's in the research community and people that view this show and view shows like what I do, and they are looking for the truth. We're going to uncover what they don't want us to uncover.
They
don't want us to find out.
Yeah.
This exercise on the Altgens 6, overlaying, the negative with the contact sheet and everything. This is so easy, and to do, and in the process to disprove, the authenticity of the Altgens 6 photograph, which so many people say, oh yeah, it's authentic, and I'm not even getting into the man in the doorway here, mind you guys,
Right.
you don't even want to get it there, and the windshield, but the other extraneous anomalies that we see here, which are very obviously people who had cameras, and they obviously had to obfuscate them, because people would have said, okay, where's the film from that camera? Where's the film from that one? And that kind of thing.
And also hiding microphones, people, in control of the assassination in the Queen Mary. So what's this guy's name again? Do we owe all this credit to?
Oral Roberts.
I'm gonna do a quick. Actually, can I do a quick screen share here?
Yeah, give him a go.
Yeah.
All right, let me
His
see.
name,
It
his name is
says,
Gary what?
Oh, David, I'll give you I'll make
Okay.
you the host. Yeah, give me 1 second.
Very important.
In case y'all didn't notice, I've been wearing my Gary shirt for this guy the whole night.
Let's see here. I'm having trouble making you host. I don't know why.
Again, folks, this has been a historic night. You have seen something that has never been presented before.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Here we go. Make host. There you go. You're it.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, that's Gary.
Gary,
and you
Gary's the
make
host.
make me the host, Jim.
I did. Oh,
Yeah,
did
you
I
did.
make it
No, you
wrong?
did, Gary.
You made Gary the host.
My apology. Yeah.
That's okay. All right, you're the host now.
There
it
you go.
says.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, okay. All right, so let me just do a quick screen share here. Let's see. Okay. I do want to say a personal thanks, a big thanks to Gary Fannin. He has written the
Yes,
book,
sir.
The Innocence of Oswald, which was brought out in 2015, 50 plus years of lies, deception, deceit, and the murders of President John F. Kennedy and Officer J.D. Tippit, which was also on a DVD. And then the book that looks like it just came out last year, JFK Marked for Death, Who Stood to Lose Had JFK Lived, along with Tim Brennan. You can visit the website, thejfkassassination.com, and find information on this, contact for Gary. But I want to say a big, huge shout out and a big thanks to him for, bringing this to my attention, which I was able to bring it to, the attention here in the, and Larry's attention here in the show.
No, David, and more importantly, for him to allow us so generously to analyze. I told him, just give me 5 minutes with that thing, give me just 5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you more than 5 minutes.
And I would like to say I want to thank you guys for having me on again. I wish I could have been on sooner. There's a lot of new things I've been working on, and I have been I've started a show since the last time I was on the on YouTube and on Zoom, called the Journey series, the Spotlight series. You guys can check that out on my website, along with Casey Quinlan and Brian Edwards, projectjfk.com. I would like to let your audience know that we're going to have a conference in April. Now, we're not doing it in Dallas this time. We're actually going to go to Memphis, and we're going to be covering the topics of JFK, MLK, RFK. I'm also going to be doing a presentation on Medgar Evers that I've been working on for about 10 years.
It's due. It's well due.
Yeah, and this marks the 60th anniversary of his assassination by Beckwith, that we're going to be discussing in Memphis. So you can get the details on
Beckwith.
David, we'd love to feature you to preview or retrospect your presentation on Edgar Medvers.
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to come on. I'd like to present it in Memphis in April, and then you guys can have me on it maybe May. And
we want to do it.
Yeah,
we want to do it.
Yeah, I would love to come on and do that with you guys. But yeah, you can get the information at the jfkhistorical.com, or you can just go to projectjfk.com, click on the events tab, and it's going to be not only in person, but we also are going to have it live streamed on Zoom. For Thursday. It's going to be like a 2-hour deal Thursday night with a couple speakers. On Friday, we're going to go from like 9 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. We'll the people at home won't be able to go with us to just because of, logistics. We're going to go over and do like a 3-hour tour, which I am going to try to record and then put up on our website after at the Lorraine Hotel. But then we'll be back on for 12 hours on Saturday.
Now, David, Gary's going to take us out, but hang on for just a minute after the show.
Absolutely.
One last thing is that a lot of progress is also, like we have been talking about on the passport, Lee Oswald's passport. All right. And try to pry that out, from the hands of the FBI, who we know took possession of it. And we have the documents to prove it. And, we got, who are going to look into that and try to get that.
You're already doing a great job on that, Larry. Gary, take us out.
All right. Yeah, fellas, it's been an honor and a privilege to have gentlemen like yourselves who's continuing the investigation of Jim Garrison. And
for real,
get to the truth.
Yeah.
All right. This has been JFK number 281. We'll see you next.
Holy, 280 shows.
Yeah.
Damn.